I'm not really that far outside Vegas. Maybe 50 miles northwest of town near Pahrump at one of my favorite freaky abandoned locations in the desert. It's called Cathedral Canyon, and it used to be this amazing religious shrine in this little box canyon out in the middle of the desert. I mean, there is nothing around for miles and miles and miles. But the story is, way back in the day, like in the 60s, this guy who had moved here from Iowa bought a bunch of land out here, and he had this big ranch and decided to make a little kind of like a shrine or monument in one of the canyons. It was sort of like a religious inspired, meditative, philosophical type thing back in its heyday, which it opened in 1972. It had like a little walking path through it, and all these, you can't really see from up here, but I'll show you in a minute. All these little alcoves had shrines and like religious statues in them. The place was lit up. There was even a replica of the Golden Gate Bridge, suspension bridge, went across the whole thing right here. Look, this was the base of this suspension bridge that went clear out over across the canyon. You could walk over it. I think it was covered in astroturf. Somebody who came out here back in those days told me about it. Wow, I mean, what an amazing place this must have been. That's a replica of the Christ the Redeemer statue from the Andes. I mean, holy cow, it must have been amazing. And at one time there was a staircase that you could go down to get into it with this really cool archway over it. And there was a little sign over the archway that said, "May the warm winds of heaven blow softly on this canyon, and may the Great Spirit bless all who enter here." What a cool sentiment, dude. It wasn't all Christian stuff. It was all just anything sort of spiritual, religious, and philosophical. All different religions were represented. So let's go down in the canyon and check it out. Okay, so I just drove down from the top of the cliff overlooking the canyon. I drove around and came back up this road here. And look, there used to be this like kind of grand entrance gate, but now it's all gone, rusted away. I think the only thing that people use this for anymore is, target practice. And look, partying. The local redneck kids from Pahrump probably come out here. It's really, I don't know, I'll be honest, I'm not a redneck, but this would be an amazing place to have a party. I would just feel so disrespectful to this poor guy's legacy. But, I mean, at this point, there's really not much left. I mean, he died in 1994, and ever since then, no one has taken care of the place, and it's just fallen apart. Look, these used to be bathrooms. They even had plumbed toilets here back in the day. Isn't that amazing? I mean, this is just out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, he had a ranch house somewhere, but look, wow. It's like cut into the side of the cliff like a hobbit house. But it was a bathroom, man. I think that was the sink, because you can see there was a water hookup behind it. And then over there, looks like that's where the toilet was. The turlet. Isn't that crazy? Indoor flush toilets. Now look at all the soot on the walls here. Somebody had a fire. But look at this. It used to be wired for electricity. Isn't that nuts? There was an electric light in here over the sink. Wow, this was... I mean, this guy spent a lot of time and money on this place. It's amazing. It's all just sort of like plastered over. See, you can see here it was chicken wire. Wow, his guy's name was Roland, I think. Here's another bathroom. Look at that, wow. Same thing, look, there's an old... this one must have been wired for electric too. Look at that, there's the old water pipe. I mean, how do you even get water in here? Oh man, that's where the toilet was. There's even still parts of it left. Look at that. It's so sad. Why do people come in here and break this stuff up, you know? Like, Anyways, like I was saying, the guy who built this, his name was Roland Wiley. He was from Iowa. And I think he officially opened this place to the public in 1972, where it was open 24 hours a day. Anybody, anytime who wanted to could come out here on his private property and go for a walk through his little meditation spiritual garden. He just did it out of the goodness of his own heart. But then when he died in 1994, which he was 90 years old, he lived a long time. When he died, his family, nobody in his family wanted to keep it up. And then he even tried to, I guess they tried to give it to the town of Pahrump. And they didn't have the money to look after it. I don't know, man. I mean, come on. What else do you have going on, Pahrump? This could have been such a cool tourist attraction. Look, there's it used to be a replica of the Christ the Redeemer statue, Christ of the Andes. Not the one in Brazil. Maybe this isn't the Christ the Redeemer. I don't know, the Christ of the Andes. I think it's on the border of Chile and Ecuador or something like that. Or Argentina, I don't know. Giant Jesus statue. But now look, the head's broken off, the arms are broken off, and it's pockmarked with bullet holes. Now, I'm an atheist, and even I wouldn't shoot up a statue of Jesus. I mean, come on. And the irony is, I guarantee the ignorant rednecks who shot this statue up probably consider themselves Christians. Maybe they just didn't realize what they were doing. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Yeah, I mean, back in the day, you would have walked along these little meandering footpaths, and you would have seen, I mean, look at these little alcoves. There was these little alcoves, sorry about the sun, dug into the wall. Look, there's one. See that? And there would have been like a little religious statue in it with a little like colored floodlight lighting it up. I mean, for scale, look. I mean, I can almost fit in it, but it's pretty small. And then there's another one up here. I mean, there might have been even something in there. I don't know, it's not an official alcove, but this one over here, that definitely had somebody in it. And then, I don't know if you can see, just past the tree there in the sunlight, there's another little triangular alcove where some kind of religious figure or statue was. Like, I don't know, I mean, like, after he died, I guess people just came and took everything, which seems so lame. Like, who would do something like that? I guess they were even, like, these little alcoves had stained glass over them, like stained glass windows. So somebody took all that, man, or shot it all out. So friggin' sad. And if I might add, also so friggin' lame. I mean, this must be a remnant of the staircase. Like back in the day when you came in here, you came down this little staircase. There's still quite a bit of it left. The shadow. Hi guys. I mean, look, you can even see the stairs still continue on here. And then I think at one point the stairs went all the way back up to the parking area. It's just, what a trip. And this is kind of like a little overlook here. You can see, gives you a good perspective on those alcoves that are, there's one up there too, cut into the side of the cliff. Oh, they're all over, all these little alcoves. They all had statues in them. Look, here's some of the old electrical wiring when it was lit up. I mean, there were supposedly colored floodlights lighting everything up. And then see this, the big thing in front of us? We'll go closer so we can see it better. This down here was a waterfall, okay? He had this electric pump create this waterfall that came down that ledge there. And there was a picture that's kind of rectangular, black and white thing, was a picture of the Sermon on the Mount that Jesus gave. Pretty sure that was the one about the meek inheriting the earth. And then the waterfall came into this pond, and I guess it's kind of like a baptismal pool in a way, probably just a peaceful place to sit and reflect. Unfortunately, now you can see somebody had a big old bonfire in here. 2 of them. And I don't know if you can see on the wall there, but somebody has scraped some adult petroglyphs. I don't know why people like to draw phalluses. I mean, I guess it's kind of a, I was there, man. I destroyed this place kind of statement. It doesn't impress me. Anyways, yeah, look, just walking through this canyon. Imagine how it was back in the day. There was a bridge going across up there. There were lights at night, colored lights, stained glass windows and little saints looking at you everywhere, plants, flowers, you know, a waterfall back that way, a big staircase coming down, and you could just come out here and go for a very peaceful walk. You know, this little staircase led up to some kind of a little, who knows what was here. I mean, this could have just been a little meditation area. Probably had all kind of plants and statues. I think there was like quotes from scripture and other religious and philosophers, religious people and philosophers. So it wasn't just like a Christian thing. It was just a kind of like, it to me, reading about it, it sounded like his sort of shrine to mankind. It's cool. I just think it's really cool when people, you know, use their money to do something really neat like this that everyone can enjoy. Or at least everyone can enjoy until you die and your family doesn't keep it up and then a bunch of losers come in and break it up. What a waste, man. I'm generally very optimistic about humanity and I love, you know, humankind, and I feel like on the whole people are pretty good. But when I see something like this, I don't know. I mean, it seems to me all it would have taken was a small group of dedicated volunteers to come out maybe once a week. I don't know, though. Now that I think about it, there probably would have had to have been 24-hour security out here, because as much as I love people, I know how they are, especially these desert dwellers. They like to go out quadding and shoot stuff up and drink some Coors Light. Anyway, that's Cathedral Canyon. So still. So sad. But Roland Wiley, I have not forgotten you. And in fact, I just read online that he's buried in Vegas, so I might go visit his grave and pay my respects. There's one more thing up here that I want to show you before we leave. Okay, here's probably my favorite thing at Cathedral Canyon. Not only is there this, or was there this beautiful religious shrine, but this guy also bought the remains of Kehoe. I don't know if you can read this. Quehoe. 1889 to 1919, Nevada's last renegade Indian. He survived alone. And if you've never heard of Kehoe, I guess that's how you pronounce it, he is a really interesting figure. I guess he was half Indian and half white, and he lived in the area back in the day. Well, he was never accepted by the Indians because he was half white. Obviously, he wasn't accepted by the whites. To make things even worse, he had a club foot, so he was really given a hard time. And he ended up sort of, I guess, being banished into a sort of exile. I mean, he terrorized the population around this whole part. I mean, I think he was active from as far as the Cajon Pass in Southern California, all the way through the Spring Mountains and around this whole area. He would rob, steal, pillage, kill. I think he murdered quite a few people. He was known to be like a real badass. In fact, I guess the parents back in the day would threaten their kids, like, if you're not good, Kehoe's gonna come get you. Like, he was legendary. He was known for being a bad hombre. In fact, I would go so far as to say that Kehoe was the original bad hombre. But yeah, he ended up, well, nobody saw him after 1919. That's why it says that he died in 1919. They didn't actually find his body until like 1940, I think. It was mummified in a cave in Black Canyon down by the Hoover Dam. I guess that's where he was living. And most people think he died more like in the 30s because they found some like blasting caps in his cave that were used by the guys building the Hoover Dam. So he was able to drag blasting caps into the. I mean, he must have been, you know, alive during the 30s. But they think he died of a rattlesnake bite because his mummy had like a burlap bag wrapped around one of the legs. But anyways, yeah, it's cool that the guy who built this, Roland, that he bothered to bury Kehoe here, because prior to this, Kehoe's mummy was just sort of like a tourist attraction. Like the Elks Club in Vegas used to drag it out to the El Dorado Days parade every year. Like it was just people made a mockery of it. But eventually, I guess the Elks got tired of putting him in the parade. I don't know. They sold him the remains of Kehoe for $100 to this guy. He gave him a burial here, which is cool. Really nice thing that he did. That's all that's left of Cathedral Canyon. Here's what one of the other signs back then said. Lest we forget, the true value of our coming to this place lies not in finding a new landscape, but in having new eyes. It is my hope that this cathedral under the skies will give you a set of new eyes and a whole new way of seeing things. Wow, what a cool quote. I love that. Cathedral under the skies. Or how about, the true value lies not in finding the new landscape, but in having new eyes. That's actually a really cool quote. That guy sounds like he was really neat. I feel like that's a pretty good way to end this video. Just remember to keep your eyes open and look at the beauty that is all around you.